Start it.
Try to kind of, do the best you can. That's all I can ask you to do. We're at the Coral Hills Shopping Center, which was opened back in 1990. We pretty much grew up in this community, which is Capitol Heights. The subdivision is Coral Hills or Bradbury Heights. To your right is the that's the original Family Dollar. Originally it was CVS or the old People's Drugstore. We also have the Shoppers Food Warehouse. Before the Shoppers Food Warehouse, it was the Giant Food Store. It was pretty much in the same area, but kind of down a little bit. To your right was Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers or Hardee's. The grand opening was back in 1990. Osmond became assistant manager or supervisor. During the grand opening, I won a 10-speed bike at the raffle. Back to your left is part of the original, Coral Hills Shopping Center, the Forest Laundromat, where me and the brothers from Sudan cartoon, we would come out here and interact, and we spent a lot of time together. To the
right.
Is the old Metro bus car barn. The Metro car barn. All right. To the right again is the McDonald's. Directly ahead of us, well, let's switch over to the left, is the liquor store. We moved in this community December of 1978. I was about 11 years old at the time, but I remember it very well. Directly in front of us is the Flair's Cleaners. Mr. Flair and his wife lived on Rail Street in Capitol Heights. They lived on Rail Street, Capitol Heights. Quiet. Okay, we on Marlboro Pike. To your left, you have like Tasties, and this was pretty much a vacant lot, but Kentucky Fried Chicken was out here where I worked at when I was in high school. I was a student at Forestville High School. I remember when Eddie's opened up. That was like back in like in the 80s, in the late 80s. So we pretty much grew up in this community. I just made it right on Edgewick. We bypassing a lot of my, a lot of my colleagues that grew up in this community. This is Edgewick. The school in front of us is Johnny G. Howard. I went to Johnny G. Howard, and we get a better view of it momentarily. I attended Johnny G. Howard in pretty much 1978 when we left D.C. I was in the 5th grade, Mrs. Moore's class, and the 6th grade, Mr. Einham's class. Over here to your right is a new development. Let's get a better shot at currently we on Nova Avenue. We're going down, making a right onto Rail Street.
Takaya, not the
Be
one.
quiet. Let's take a look at it. This is Billings Avenue. This community again is called Bradbury Heights. Miss Clark, Porky, a schoolmate of ours, used to live here many years ago. want to give you an idea. This is still Shell Street. We used to get ready to make a right onto Arcadia Avenue. This open lot coming up is Richard Johnson. We used to play football along this area. Mr. Young and Odell and all our old schoolmates. Angelo Childs used to live here on this house over here to your right, to your left, I'm sorry. Directly in front of us, this was our neighbor. I'll take a picture of me. This house up here to the right is the house that we used to live in back in from 1978 to 2007. So I just want to give you a little bit of input with that. Things have changed, but I miss the community. But this is pretty much where we grew up at. We're gonna go up Quinn Street. We lived at 4305 Quinn Street, Bradbury Heights, Maryland, 20743 from 1978 to 2007. December of 1978 to I would say October of 2007. This right here, we're entering Southern Avenue. One side of Southern Avenue is DC, and the other side is Maryland. Southern Avenue is the boundary, but the streets is owned by the District of Columbia. Dad told me that a long time ago. This building right here, that's a church now, God's Second Chance Ministry, was a laundromat. I remember them. They were senior people, but they were nice people. We used to go there when we first moved to Bradbury Heights. This is our little daycare center. The Randall Highland Private School Daycare is the first daycare center that Tyke went to. On the other side is the little carry-out restaurant with Mr. John May. He's the president of the Benning Heights Co-op. He used to work here, which was owned by the Koreans. So that's when I first knew Mr. May. We're headed back to the house. We're gonna travel down. We used to come down here between that time, between 1978 and 2000.
Right
here. Back, we used to go swimming, the Ridge Road swimming pool. Obviously, since then, we became a part of this community. Taki played football for the Ridge Road Titans, played basketball. So this is pretty much, where his athletic proudness began. This is a new recreation center, the Ridge Road Recreation Center, headed by Mr. Sonny Hicks. He does a lot in this community, and we're proud to have him part of this community. It's one of the top recreation centers in the District of Columbia. On your right, that's the center. The original rec center is just beyond the playground, the little field house. That's the original recreation center. The football field, one of the premier fields in the city. This is where it starts. All the training and hard work take place. We've had a couple of athletes to come out of this community to play in the National Football League, the NFL. We're currently on the Ridge Road. So we're driving back to the house to the co-op. We're almost there. We're about less than a mile away before we get to our destination. It's a sunny, glorious day. Saturday, March the 3rd. Saturday, March the 3rd. It's a little windy, but it's very comfortable. We're making that right on Texas Avenue. The street coming up is where Sister Leonetta used to live, which is Adrian Street, further up. We would come up here back in the 90s, 1990s. We were good friends of the family. She was a Muslim. She moved to Detroit, Michigan with her husband. And with our, with Brother Jack's wife, father, Brother Sam. We get ready to make that right turn onto East Street. We'll be entering the Benning Co-op community very shortly. We're almost at our destination. So we're coming up. I know you see a lot of trees. We had a very strong wind storm a few days ago, and it took a big toll on the community. A lot of trees went down. A lot of power, Pepco, they weren't cut out, cable, and everything. So pretty impactful in the community. We're making that right onto Alabama Avenue. This community was a simple city community. There was a lot of foolishness going on amongst our people. But I think the city has cleaned it up tremendously. But it's better. We're approaching Falls Terrace. My Uncle Willie and Gracie Briggs lived in this community, I think this court, back in the 1960s. So it means a lot to us, or to me, I should say. To the left is our community where my mother moved here a few months ago, and I think it's the neighbors has been friendly, pretty nice. So it's a pretty nice, pretty nice community, I think. And this is the Benning Heights Co-op community. It's pretty safe. Everybody look out for each other, and the neighborhood is relatively clean, and they do a lot of good stuff out here. And I just come to tell you what we can do as a people if we start, looking out and doing right by each other. So I just want to thank you for tuning in, and I will have more videos of the city or the DMV coming up very shortly with the next days to come. Thank you.